In a season of misery and despair, there's still a couple positive outtakes we can have going into the offseason about this New Orleans Pelicans team. And honestly, it's time to break that down right now in the Pelicans Scoop. So cue my music.
This is the Pelicans Scoop with Jordan Kitchens, breaking down everything under the sun about your New Orleans Pelicans. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay on top of your Pels content. Now, running point, here's Jordan.
What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another edition of the Pelicans Scoop. I am your host with the most, Jordan Kitchens, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Monday further and further most. So since it's a Monday, we got to start off with a little bit of positivity, right? Nobody wants to start their week off with such a bummer, but it's going to be a little mini series I'm doing, well, 2-episode series I'm doing about the positives about this New Orleans Pelicans season and the negatives about this New Orleans Pelicans season. Granted, the negatives outweigh the positives because what more positivity can you have in a 20 in a million year? Honestly, but I still feel like there was a couple things that we can take away. I feel like there was a couple good gimmies that we learned. Things revealed themselves. We learned a little bit about this. We learned a little bit about that. We added a little bit of this. We added a little bit of that. And honestly, man, it's time to really break that down. So let's start further and furthermost. We're going to start it off with this. The biggest thing that we learned from this Pelican season, the most positive outlook that we got from this season, drum rolls, like there's some drum rolls. No, but it's definitely the emergence of Carlo, the emergence of Yves Missi, the emergence of Keon Brooks Jr., who I had no clue who Buddy was like 3 weeks ago. And now he's been a very pleasant surprise. And Antonio Reeves. So, granted, you also learned that Hawkins is very limited. He's going to be injury prone. He has a degenerative back issue going on. We learned that, but at the same time, what we've been clamoring for since at least January, February is that we got to get the young guys going. All right. The season's over with. You don't need to be playing Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum 30 plus minutes, Willie. You don't have to do that. But I still did that. Things happen, whatever. The team was trying to make some type of push or whatever they're trying to do. But at the same time, you still got to see Carlo in a season where you had no big man going to the year, Carlo and Missi. I guess I just grouped them together. Missi came along earlier, had one rookie of the month, I think, in December. He won rookie of the month in December, so great accomplishment. He's going to be in the Rising Stars, turns his ankle right before that. But you learned a lot about Missi. Still looking to solidify the front court. It's not that he's a guaranteed runaway. Oh, man, Missi. No. He probably can get there. But right now, he's still not a caliber, everyday starting NBA center. He can get there. We're not going to act like Missi didn't just start playing basketball, less than 3 to 4 years ago. So, you got to give him time. He will get better. He's shown that he's able to get better as the season progresses. He hit his rookie wall. He's able to rebound, pass that a little bit. And like I said, he still has ways to grow. So, I don't think he's a runaway where you're like, oh, he's not playing Summer League. Oh, we don't need to still try to improve at the center position. Those are things you still have to do, and he still needs to be penciled in as a guy in the Summer League. So, but Carlos still, you learn a lot about him. You learn that, he can shoot at the NBA caliber three. He can play NBA minutes. He is an actual NBA player. He had him stashed away in Europe, they had him stashed away in Birmingham. He was coming back and forth from Alabama like he the Crimson Tide. So it's good to see him back. Antonio Reeves. Finally, Willie starts playing this guy. You see what he can do. And then Keon Brooks is kind of like a little oregano on the pizza. Like, you didn't expect the oregano was going to do so much, but you add a little bit of oregano, give you a little bit of, give you a little bit of one of those little slap your mama, like one of those type of effects. That's what I get from Keon Brooks. You wasn't expecting Keon Brooks, but he was a little bit of seasoning on the fries. That's what I get from Keon Brooks. Like, I had no clue who he was. I had really no expectations for him. I'm here trying to watch Antonio Reeves. I'm trying to see what Antonio Reeves is finna do. But then Keon Brooks, I'm like, damn, Keon Brooks, he be all right, bro. Like, nah, bro. Then he rebounds really well. He plays smart. He has like an IQ with him. Defends. All these guys playing for NBA contracts. Like, they all hungry out there. So I really did develop more of respect for Keon Brooks. Not to say I didn't respect him. I just didn't know who he was. So, at this point in the season, you're playing a bunch of guys you don't know who they are. And I guess you can put Brandon Boston Jr. in that group. I don't really know what happened with Brandon Boston Jr. It just became his ankle. Then it's like, they're trying to get his contract done. They don't want to run out his games played. So they got the contract done. Still didn't come back. So I don't know what to expect from him. Definitely pencil him in for Summer League. But it's all going to be interesting why these are positives, because what's going to happen with Jordan Hawkins? what's going to happen with Jordan Hawkins this offseason? What's going to happen with Jordan? Are they going to try and move off him? Are they still trying to develop? Like, we're going to have to see. All this going to play out in the summer league, really, if you ask me, especially whatever pick they get. Are they going to try and trade the pick? Whatever. And another obvious positive will have to be Trey Murphy's emergence. Granted, it hurts and sucks that he's ended the year with an injury, a labrum in his shooting arm. That does suck. But just seeing Trey's development, okay, from when he first started with the Pelicans to what he is now. All right, he completely erased he's just a spot-up shooter, 3-and-D type of guy. No, he's showing you that he can put the ball on the floor. He's showing that he can create his own shot. He's showing you that he knows how to work in the offseason. Like, he's actually putting in the amount of time, effort into his game to become a better player. All right, you love to see that he's driven, but not even just being driven. He understands that, you know what? I can be the man. Like, it's not, okay, it's Zion's team. I'm trying to sit here and help Zion out. No. It's like, all right, well, they're not going to be able to rely on this guy. I can be the guy. I can be the man. And you learned that a lot about Trey this year, especially when you was having no Zion, no B.I. I mean, before they got rid of him. No DeJounte for a little bit. No CJ certain games. No Herb. Trey Murphy was there. He was steady. He was consistent. He's going to give you 20-plus points. You might even go off for 40. Seeing what he can do. He's shooting. His confidence is at an all-time high, and it's only going to keep getting better. You've seen him develop his free throws. You've seen, well, he's already a good free throw shooter, but I'm talking more about, foul baiting. Just call it what it is. Foul baiting. But that's a skill. We hate on Shea. We hate on Brunson. I hate on Embiid. I hate about how they do that. I mean, I used to hate when Prime Harden used to be going there. You check James Harden's stats. He might be 9 for 26, but he got 13, 15 free throws. I used to hate that, but that is a skill. And Trey Murphy is showing you that he has that skill. He can keep getting better. All about time on the floor. So it's all about, can Trey stay healthy? But at the end, it was still a positive to see his development and what he can be and what we should as fans be expecting him to what he could be. So Trey's next step is fully healthy, but also at the same time, it's time to try and go get an all-star team. That's his next step. Try and go make one of these all-NBA teams. Like, I think Trey can be one of those guys. It's going to be hard if the Pelicans cannot win. That's what all goes into it. The Pelicans have to win, okay? Because he should be up there for MIP this year, but the Pelicans couldn't win. So that also, team success has a lot to do with the recognition these guys get. And then speaking of recognition and going in healthy, it's another positive this year is that for the first time in a long time, we're going to have a healthy Zion in the offseason. People be like, well, technically, he's out right now with a back. Zion's not hurt, ladies and gentlemen. The team is tanking. All right, let's call it what it is. We don't need him playing anyway. You just saw Trey. I don't even want to talk about Trey's injury, but Zion is healthy. Let's just start that. But finally getting into an offseason where Zion is healthy. He's not trying to rehab coming back from something. You're not seeing Zion trying to rehab from a hammy or breaking his foot or a broken thumb. It's finally having an offseason where he can develop his game. Right? You're not having take away time from that months of just trying to rehab and get better back to where you need to be. And then by the time you look up, it's time for the training camp. So no, Zion's finally going to have an offseason where he can get better. And also at the same time, we finally have a threshold, right? The 30-minute thing. I'm not necessarily saying that needs to be for his whole career, but you learn it works. All right, if you put him in a 30-minute, not more than not overusing him, not whatever, he's effective. All-time effective. So, yes, you still need more. The number one pick. Stephen A. talking about Zion's a bust. Zion's not a bust, okay? There's levels to bust. All right, Zion is a bust is you're one of the worst. Like, you're out the NBA. Anthony Bennett. Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown had a relatively, let's just say, long career, but at the same time, he was a bust. Look at his stats. Like, Zion's stats tell you, oh, this guy can be an all-time great if he's locked in. So that's all up to him. He's not a bust. He's a disappointment. Has he lived up to expectations? Hell no. Hell no, he hasn't lived up to expectations. Not even close. Not even close. Zion was penciled in as to be the savior in New Orleans. So he hasn't lived up to that. But to call him a bust is insane. That's insane. There's levels to bust. Zion is far from a bust. He's just a disappointment. Okay? We can call him a disappointment. Can't call him a bust. Stats too good to even be in bust talks. That Stephen A. is just talking. Stephen A. just be talking. That's why Brian almost had the socker in the mouth, because he just be talking. Stop. Just listen. Think before you speak. All right. Zion's not a bust. Again, is Stephen A. saying guy was talking about, I got chefs on speed dials telling me Zion will eat the table. He'll eat the chef's talking about he gonna lick the table from head to toe here. Slurp it up. Like, Stephen A., relax. You being performative, guys. Like, y'all gotta stop eating that up. Like, No pun intended. Stop eating it up, okay? Zion is not hurt. Zion is not a bust. He's a disappointment, and it could be better. Zion's a two-time All-Star, okay? He's a two-time All-Star. Could be better, of course. He needs to be better, yes. Will it be here? Who knows? History's not on your side. So granted, it's not a lot of positive about this season we can really keep going on about, but the last couple I had were, number one thing would have to be you own your future, okay? That is a premium in the NBA these days, especially when you're bad. Okay, you don't be like the Phoenix Suns and don't own your future, and you're over there being bad for the Washington Wizards rebuild. Okay, you don't want to be like the Clippers at one point. Even though they're good this year, they've been relatively good, but OKC owns their future. Matter of fact, OKC owns a couple teams' futures, right? So the Rockets own somebody's future. The Nets own people's futures. The Nets own the Knicks' future. So not having your future is scary, and especially in a time where, you know, you're a small market team like the Pelicans. So if you lose a guy, it's going to be hard to replace guys because you're not really attracting premium free agents. So you got to be able to nail the draft. So be another luxury if the Pelicans can find a way. Well, it's really the lottery. With the lottery, can find a way to bless them. The guy to get blessed. Gotta get blessed. The guy to get blessed with some top pick or whatever. That top 3 pick. Okay. You still hurt if it's 3, but it need to be 1 or 2. But it's okay. You own your future. So if it gets bad, you know, you still have assets and whatnot. You still can bank on that. And my final outlook about this Pelicans season will have to be one and only Alfred Payton. You know, Alfred Payton found a way back in the NBA. You know, I like to shout out not only just because he showed love to me and Dev with Hold DeMayo and RYB, but at the same time, found a way to get back in the NBA. You know, really talking to him off the camera, really speaking with Alfred Payton. You know, he's a real cool, genuine guy. You know, both from the West Bank. So it's just seeing him finally start to hoop again with the Pelicans, and actually, hopefully they can give it. You need guards. You need an actual point guard that can sit there and orchestrate the offense. Yeah, Alfred didn't score last night. He went 0 for 3, but he had 10 assists. Like, that's what you need. You need playmaking. He offers that. He just got to be, if you could just hit 1-3, you have a contract. So hopefully the Pelicans can reward him. Yeah, they finished this contract out for the season, but, like, you know, let's give him one more contract for the year. Just give him put him on a 1-year deal. Let's just see. So I'm happy for Alfred. You know, hopefully he can continue with that with this Pelicans team, because, like I said, you're gonna be without DeJounte for the foreseeable future at the moment. You might luck into Dylan Harper, but other than that, you need guard play. He can give you guard play, especially off the bench. So those are my positives about the Pelican season. So this is for people. Oh, you're just negative, no, brother. You got a million losses. What is there to be positive about? So this video is for y'all. So y'all tell me something positive about this Pelican season in the comments. Y'all can say whatever, because y'all be having me rolling in the comments. Y'all be funny, man. Y'all are some of the funniest people, I swear. So y'all just let me know, man. I'm signing out. Enjoy your Monday, baby. I'm out. Peace.